They can hear us. So here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to GSM Live, Episode 6. My name is Melissa Acid Sunshine, and I have the pleasure to be joined by these fantastic gentlemen here today. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
I'm LSDJ. I'm sick. I'm trying to cough that direction because otherwise this guy's going to yell at me.
I will yell at him because I am Dr. Prodigy, and I don't like being sick because I'm a doctor.
And I'm Negus. Also, don't miss New York traffic at all, by any means.
New York traffic sucks.
Yeah,
It
it's
took me
absolutely terrible.
2.5 hours to get here.
Yeah, it was like an hour and 30, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't miss this.
We miss you, though.
I love New York.
Yes, we do miss do miss you, Kendall.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. You guys stop lying now, please.
Nah, never lie.
You guys were supposed to be looking at the camera. We're breaking the illusion, looking at each
Oh,
other.
but I thought you changed it. It was already. Oh.
It's already there.
It's
It's
already
there. What are you
oh.
talking
I
about?
think I broke it in the
Oh.
beginning because I was like,
Whatever. We're all here today together at AON on Long Island. Thank you so much, AON, for having us today. Thank you for hosting. And thank you, Trevor, for running our fantastic stream today. So we are so excited. There's so much to cover. Lots of things have happened. And it's only been 3 weeks, right? I think it's only been like 3 weeks.
Yep.
we did one 2 weeks ago, right?
2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Whatever. It's
Reese,
been
it's-
2 to 3 weeks.
It's a
been
really
busy.
short amount of time, and there's a lot of things that happened. So let's start first with SNS
Okay.
because
Start it.
we were all there. Unfortunately, Kendall couldn't make it, but I'm sure you watched a bunch of it online.
Yes.
And like starting from that, the largest Splatoon LAN that we've had thus far, and at Smash and Splash, you always have the fantastic Kalahari Resort, which is filled with lots of fun things to do. There's a lot of activities for people who don't play the game. You can come just as a spectator and still enjoy yourself and have a great time. So that's a really big thing that a lot of people tend to do. And then the Splatoon side of things, it was a huge event. 62 registered teams, I believe.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, amazing. Huge.
I think it was almost at 64, and then some people dropped.
Yeah.
So it was almost at nice round 64, which would have been amazing.
It really
Would
would
have
have.
been 61 if Keta didn't convince me to play.
Good job, Keta.
Freaking Keta.
You had fun, right?
You sound so upset
It
about
was
it.
all right.
Yeah. Like it was over a week ago. You played.
We made top cut, and then we proceeded to
Exactly.
get destroyed. So, we'll take it.
I
take
mean,
those.
I think that's not so terrible. So, in terms of the actual event themselves, this is the first LAN, right? The first one besides Beacon, the first that had so many teams that we didn't have STDX or Ghost Gaming.
Yeah.
Beacon still had
Yeah,
Ghost.
yeah.
So this is the first LAN that has neither team. And that kind of shaped up a little bit differently of maybe what we could have seen for our top cut,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so it was one of those weird things where it was like, there wasn't that big sponsored team, quote unquote, which is actually somewhat kind of rude because Demise and Low-Key were still there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, it was one of those things where it's like, there wasn't that, absolute fan favorite, this team's going to win type of event.
Don't blame. Yo, can I burn that shirt, please?
No, I just made that.
That's disgusting.
I made
Melissa
it
made
for
this
him.
special
That's
for
I
you.
have a
absolutely
gift for you, but I have to mail it to you.
Don't tell me that you actually made me one of those.
No, I didn't. I made you something special. Everyone got something
Here,
special.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me move the squid so you can see my shirt a little better.
I think that's
Lord.
perfect because then it's not, Clamblitz did nothing wrong, which people have said before, but it's its own thing. Don't blame Clamblitz just because your teammates can't talk to you.
Yeah. Also because it's good and competitive.
Yeah.
You can blame it in solo. I don't
know
care.
what's
Solo.
I don't know what's happening. This is
We
going-
totally off the rails.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
Back
Sorry.
That was my fault.
back on the SNS topic. To add on to what you were saying, I think this is the first LAN we've had since Splatoon 1 where it was like there wasn't a clear winner.
Who's going to win? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's going to win? It was an actual legitimate question, not just like, hey, who's going to win? And everyone's just like, well, we don't know this guy's going to win. But hey, who's going to win? And
I don't know, but like, can you argue that it was kind of a facade, like a little bit, like Power, Penguin, and
So
like that's even like Tic Tac. I can't remember.
They
before,
were
I
in
can't
losers
remember.
bracket.
But still,
Yeah.
They didn't win every game in that grand.
I mean, what happened with SDX and Genesis? Like,
Oh,
happened.
minus Hex and GG's.
okay, fine. Whatever. Well, I'm just saying. Like,
Actually, they still lost with Hex in there.
I mean,
too,
like even just
so.
having still like Deep Blues. You had Demise. You had Low Key. It's kind of a facade.
It
Just
was-
not having like obviously
yeah.
the biggest name and like at that point in Splatoon, but
It was one of those things where we had all the top, quote unquote, top teams.
yeah,
But there wasn't the fight for second as it normally
It's
viewed
true.
as.
I agree with that, but like, couldn't you still argue that this is probably still one of your stronger lands?
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
So
It's like
barring
the
the names.
average was much higher. It's just we didn't have a clear favorite.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I
That's
mean, we had a bracket reset right there. I think that
That's
kind
the
of
first one
determines
since
that's
G5 or
yeah,
whatever it
that's
was,
one of the
yeah.
strongest ones.
And on top of that, it was one of those things where it's like a lot of people were saying, "Oh, like, well, for the wet, like they're probably gonna win." I mean, you got Kyo, Toon, Power, paying it. Like, how are they supposed to lose that?
That's
The reality
very
situation
powerful
is
team.
that Kyo and Toon literally did not want to practice for SNS. Like, I think as that group of 4, I think they scrimmed once before SNS. Like, they didn't practice for SNS at all.
It's not like they had other priorities or anything.
Yeah, right, exactly.
yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like I knew Power and Pangit, they were trying to play and get ready for SNS, and I'm obviously Kyo and Toon, they were practicing too, but they were focused more on the E3 stuff, which is different rule set, different maps.
I mean,
all
can
that
we
stuff.
can we be fair? I mean, like obviously it ended. Obviously, like they won, but being fair, those are like what your strongest players, Western, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
arguably, okay.
arguably.
No offense to Toon, because Toon is an extremely good player.
Yeah.
But you could say Kyo, Pangit, and Power are like all top 5
But even
players
being
in
fair
NA.
to Toon,
and like and like Toon's like top 10. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like and then if you put just like support like painter type players, it's like Toon's top 3 arguably. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know who else could even come to mind type of thing. So like you'd be top 1. So it's one of those things where it's like. It's one of those things, though, that even just because you have the best on paper doesn't mean in actuality it's going to play out that way, especially since they didn't practice. I mean, look at what happened at PAX, right? I mean, you had Fuzzy, Pangit, Power, Tic Tac, right? Another super strong lineup there, and they didn't win it.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, they did get pretty handily beaten in winners bracket too by Demise.
They did,
they
yeah.
4-0'd.
Like
Right.
they changed up the way they were doing their comps. Like I take a little bit of credit for this because I told Austin, get Kyo off of Inkbrush and you'll do fine. And then he started playing things that weren't Inkbrush and they started
definitely
doing
did see
fine.
that,
So
Kyo said, I also just picked any weapon to fill that. I didn't practice at all. So there we go.
yeah,
There
so
you have
he's agreeing with what I said.
Yeah. And I mean, you could see it too when they played. I had the pleasure of casting those sets, and it was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in my life. So thank you to you guys for pushing me to do
Yes,
that.
You're welcome.
And those sets, like in the beginning, you could see that they were definitely floundering. They had issues there. They just weren't coming together. And all of a sudden, it was like a switch just flipped, and they just were unstoppable, and it kept snowballing. And then that sort of mentality of winning and continuing your growth, you could see it really set in there, and I think that's where they continued their streak.
Yeah, so it's been a while since Power has been to a LAN before him. But for those that have gone to a LAN that he was at, Power is notorious for kind of just being like a robot. Like, he doesn't really show much emotion. He's pretty quiet. When he smiles, it's kind of just like, and just kind of like, right back to like normal, like neutral mode. In the grand final set, after like the Black Belly game, I saw him like bouncing up and down in his chair. Like I saw like actual movement. Like I saw him getting hype. I was just like, oh my god,
That's
Power showing emotion. They are dead. Demise is screwed. It's game
what
over.
happens when he
Like,
gets a 20 bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So like for me, I thought the Demise was gonna win until I saw that. And once I saw like Power like feeling it, and then you could just from what I know about Demise, when they're not doing as well, they tend to argue a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So once I saw those two things happening, it was just like, oh, I guess like I thought Demise was gonna win it, but then the Power caught his groove, and it was just over.
I actually just had one question because I wasn't there, but like, what was especially for Demise, and obviously the biggest question that's gonna come up is like, where do you guys like see Zero on that run? Like how like just everything I heard was like Zero did amazing. This that and the other like.
That
Where
was his
does he-
best tournament that I've ever seen. him
Yeah,
play. Like
yeah.
he was doing so well.
And even DJ, like DJ's always been a really solid player, but like the crowd was specifically cheering for DJ
Yeah.
Really?
at
Yeah.
SNS.
Started mostly by DJ's mom.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Oh
I was
my
I was about
gosh.
to ask. Was that more like on the
She
side
was
of
going
the
nuts.
mom
Yeah,
or?
yeah,
I wish I had my buttons. She made these really cute little buttons for the team, and she
Really?
gave 9 and I one, and I literally almost cried when she handed me this little button. And it's like a team photo of them, and it's on my wall of memorabilia for like Splatoon.
Oh, that's
because I'm
amazing.
that lame. But it was so cute, and she is just the best cheerleader you could ever have at a LAN.
No, Splatoon
She's also a
parents,
great
yeah.
co-caster
Yeah, she came on for a
for
few minutes.
TP1C.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
that
So
was
what-
a fun side of it.
What other SNS stuff is there to talk about other than placings?
I want to know what the venue was
The
like.
format is
like,
actually a big thing I wanted to talk
Okay.
about,
Go
like
for it.
especially groups. It was like I'm not trying to they had a weird situation where they had to match the times for Smash so that people could play Smash and Splatoon.
Yeah.
that's hard.
And with that constraint and with the teams that they had to go with this 3-round Swiss thing, and the end result was if you lost that first round, you had no chance to get to top cut unless somebody else really screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was probably the biggest flaw is there was multiple teams that got hard denied top cut because they couldn't they just got a better team than they expected round one, or they took longer to warm up and they didn't quite clutch it. So I think going forward that might be something that need to be looked at if we're going to go with formats like that in the future.
I mean, because our tournaments run or have run before, where if you don't do well enough in groups, you just go to a silver or bronze bracket or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they still had-
But I think we do more than 3 games for our groups, and
Yeah.
this one you had only 3 games to determine your outcome.
Well,
Granted,
in the past they've also done redemption brackets.
right? Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And I get it, again, 62 teams.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And
Yeah.
in the same amount of space as what we had last year.
Smaller,
Um,
actually. Smaller space than
oh,
we
was
had
it
last
actually
year.
smaller?
Yeah, it was smaller.
Oh,
It was
felt
about
the same.
15 or 20
It was the
feet
same
smaller.
amount of setups. It was
Same
just
amount of
less
setups, yeah,
space.
just less
Okay.
actual space.
Okay, so by 20 feet, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But regardless, same amount of setups. So, we can't hear you at all, Trevor. So I don't know what you're trying to tell us. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys basically got where the
They,
ones
they
that
can
got
hear you, right?
eaten.
When you okay, cool. I'm not sure. I'm glad we're not having a one-sided conversation.
No, they
I'm sure.
can't. They couldn't hear.
Never
me there.
mind, they can't hear. Production was saying production didn't have as much space this year, and production rules supreme. So, get more space for production.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to know is what was it like? 62 teams. That's a lot of people. What was the venue actually like? Because you only get to see so much from stream, obviously. So.
Yeah. So the GSM spectator cam that they had a few shots of the crowd and the audience, and that was basically half the room,
Okay.
kind of. So which was more or less just mostly spectator seating. I don't think the shot really got 1 or 2 stations that were kind of sitting.
You mean
right
the one from the Gengame stream, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I keep saying GSM, my bad. The Gengame stream. Apologies. So that was 1/3 to 1/2 of the room, depending on how zoomed in the shots were. But everything else was kind of similar to how we have it set up here at AON, just kind of stations along the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think there was, 6 to 8 stations total? I forget the
I think
exact
it was
amount.
8 stations total, and then main stage, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Okay.
It was also really packed. There were moments when
Yeah,
I was trying
it
to
was really
run
packed.
to
Especially
To
on
cast?
the top 24 day.
yeah. Oh,
With groups day, it was a little bit more tolerable because
Mhm.
only a quarter of the people were having
'Cause
to
you can
play at
rotate,
once.
yeah.
yeah.
But
That's
once it was the top 24, it was
was
literally
on
everybody
Saturday.
was there, and it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just a zoo.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm asking because we've had was it 25 teams the last time for weekend, and it's just this in here feels like it's hot. It's this feels claustrophobic a little bit.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine 62 teams. That's how you look at most Smash events, and they're just all boxed in together. People are huddled in.
Yeah, I mean, it
And-
wasn't nearly as bad as a Smash Room still, but
Yeah.
even then.
I mean, Splatoon players shower, so I
well,
mean,
I didn't even mean in that. I just meant the packedness, but you're not wrong. I'm not going to argue that. It was notorious for. There was a lot of comments that I heard being said about
The Smash room.
aroma of our room versus the Smash Room.
Even from the security, we had one security guard who came in
Yeah.
4 or 5 times, and he goes, "This is the best place to be because I can breathe."
Yeah.
That was literally what he said to me.
It was
Yeah.
even from day one, which is the weirdest part of it. It's the first day, it's still way better to go in the Splatoon room than the Smash room.
Yeah.
Yep.
How is there that much BO
Wait.
on day one? That means
Yeah.
they're coming to the event
Event,
already
yeah.
not showered.
when you're waiting in the line for the badge on Thursday night, you can already smell it.
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
It's just
This year was the
really-
worst that it's been as far as that whole BO thing goes.
I didn't go to the Smash Room as much this year, so I don't know.
I didn't really go that much either, but every time I did, it was just instantaneous. I was like, oh my god.
I walked
what is
through
happening?
once. It was also a lot warmer in the venue, all around, because I think it
Yeah,
was
but we're
warmer outside
We're
too.
the water park venue. People should be collateral damage showering. You know what I mean? They're going into water.
the shot that Trevor has pulled up in the VOD right now behind us. That's about About, I don't know,
That was
2/5 of the room,
that's
like 40%.
Yeah, that's like 40% of the room, and that's like probably the most dead it was the entire time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
normally,
there was way more people.
normally you can't move past that camera because there were just crowds just standing there.
Well, I actually have. I'm sorry. I have so many questions because I wasn't there.
This
but,
is good.
One of the things I want to know, like, obviously outside people coming in, was there any like, because you guys talk about it every single year. Oh, we had this person. They came in. They were like, "Yo, this is never seen Splatoon like this before." Was there anybody like that talked about it? Or
Like the
commented
drunk
about it?
Smash player from last
Of
year?
course, whoever it was.
We
like,
didn't have...
It's harder to see that this time because of how
Yeah.
many
how
people
big
we
it
had.
was. Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely
know there was some of it.
Yeah, I definitely heard people talking about it. But
Finals
no
day.
one like, so for example,
No big names.
no
Nobody.
big names
Okay.
that I know of this year. For example, like Wobbles, who's he's like the headliner.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I know
like
what
the
you're talking
headliner commentator for Melee at SNS
Yeah, I know what
every
you're
year.
talking about.
So he teamed with this guy in Splatoon 1 for like a week or two.
Like it was like a solid month.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, it wasn't because he hated you or anything like
No,
that.
he just like
because
dipped.
he went back to Melee or
Yeah.
something like that. And it was like it was around the time that like he almost won Evo, right? Wasn't it around that?
No, that was well after the Evo thing, I think.
Was it? Because that was like only 4 years ago.
I want to say, well, I mean, like the next year he did that, where he did really well. But no, like he basically, I think what happened was like he would play Splatoon for a while, and then he kind of took a break, and then he went back into Melee, and he just like super grinded it for a while.
Yeah. Anyway, so the past couple years, I had seen him or had heard about him stopping by and like seeing, saying hello, talking to people, just seeing what it's up. I didn't see him this year. Granted, I wasn't in the venue as much this year, so I don't know if he did stop by and someone else talked to him. But
Okay.
but regardless, like I actually didn't like the location of the room this
It was
year.
really hard to
It was
get
hard to find.
It
Yeah.
was even more separated from everything else this year than it was elsewhere or last year. Because last year there's like this the huge giant main ballroom, and we were right across the hall from that.
Mm-hmm.
This year there was the main giant ballroom. Then there was a second main giant ballroom that was actually just like speed runs, DDR, food and food and beverage fighting games. So like that was kind of just like I think Pokken and ARMS were in that room.
Yeah,
And so
some
like
side stuff.
it was basically like a bunch of smaller stuff kind of crammed into like one space. I say crammed, but in actuality they had like a giant space in there. And we were across the hall from that. And so like if you view all of SNS as like a giant rectangle, we were like in this very far corner, far as away as possible from like the main thing, which was Smash.
Okay.
So in that sense, like, yeah, Smash players came by, but like we were kind of like far away from everything and kind of tucked in a corner. And it's like if you didn't know where to go, you kind of had to just like wander in and like find it.
Yeah, it took me like 15 minutes when I got there on Thursday to find the room, and that was after I had already like went into Gamers HQ where they were setting up, asked a couple of people, they were like, "Oh, I have no idea," and they would like refer me to people because I got there around 1:15 on Thursday, and everything was still being set up, and this was like something I kind of wanted to touch on. Everyone was really frustrated with how things started on Friday, understandably so. Like there were a couple of issues, but Splatoon was supposed to have the main stage set up third, I believe. Like it was going to be Smash Ultimate, Melee, Splatoon. That was the order of constructing those stages. So that meant it was supposed to get there and like be set up by 4 p.m. It didn't arrive in the room until 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and they didn't start setting it up, or it wasn't done to like have equipment put on it until close to midnight.
It was
I
4
think
a.m.
4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was 12 hours after it was supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was like a huge setback because obviously everyone from EGTV is in that room. They were working nonstop, doing everything they could to make sure that everything was set to go for Friday. But if you don't have the things that you need to put the equipment on, you can't really do much.
Yeah.
And I was involved a lot this year.
Yeah, you were.
I may have bit off a little more than I could chew, but it was still really a great event for me, and I had a lot of fun with it. But it was very frustrating from the side of an organizer to see that the venue, the kind of parent organizer that's hosting you, wasn't able to abide by any of the deadlines that they had set. So, that's hard to, and that kind of like, I don't know, go along with the location of it made it a little weird.
Yeah, but things to reflect upon. I'm sure EGTV is aware of this stuff too. And I know we have other stuff to talk about, but one more thing
I actually have one more question.
Go for it.
So 62 teams.
Yeah.
Huge, right?
Yeah.
But my question is it more of like, everybody knows it's SNS, or better yet, us as like organizers and as LANs, does that mean that there's more that we can push to actually try to get our LANs back up to these type of numbers? Or was it just that, again, it's SNS?
It's a bit of both, I think. I think there is definitely something to be said about having more numbers at normal events, but SNS, like, people primarily go because
It's a water park.
It's a water park.
yeah, it's like it's not even about
It's a nice
Splatoon
water
in a
park.
lot of ways for some people. It's like they come to hang out with their friends in Splatoon at the water park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in previous years, like, there was less teams because of that. Like, people would just come and just
There's a lot of spectators.
There's a
A
lot
lot
of
of spectators. Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's this year I think there more people played than ever, just because like they saw people playing last year and like, all right, that sounds fun, I'm going to do it this time. And
Yeah, I think I do agree with Dieter. That's kind of both, in the sense that, like, realistically, this is the land to go to.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
there's just so much to do. It's also one of the most expensive, but it's like a mini vacation.
Of
So,
course.
and that's how a lot of people treat it. At the same time, I've been kind of paying attention to, for example, EGTV has a LAN Discord server that I'm sure the vast majority of people in chat are in it. But for those that don't know, EGTV has a Discord server just like we have a Discord server where they organize all of their LANs and stuff like that and make all their info announcements. I've seen a lot of people talk about only EGTV events. Like, I guess they said, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people talking about how Splatoon's not going to be at DPG. I don't know if they made like an official announcement about that or not. Regardless, they're like, oh, since it's not going to be at DPG, I guess we'll see you guys at like Genesis or SNS next year. It's just like, there's more lands. There's more lands out there, guys.
Yeah.
So like,
and it's not even just our lands too. Like Smash Adelphia is
yeah.
2 weeks from now.
Oh my gosh,
Right?
I'm so
Yeah. Or
excited.
Or 1 week? Is it 1 week or 2
It's
weeks?
the 21st to
It's very
23rd,
close.
so it's like 2 weeks.
2 weeks from like this past week.
That's
Yeah.
kind of my
Yeah.
question is like, are we doing a good job, or is it just that
I
it's
think
SNS?
it's a combination of SNS is going to be a big appeal.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be marketed better just because of how ginormous it is. And Splatoon 2 is a part of that. And I think in combination with that and EGTV already having a very established community and outreach, being because they were like the first, right? At least in NA,
course,
they're
yeah,
like
yeah.
the first. So they have their own little group and people that are aware of their little group. But as a whole, I don't think this is just TO side of things. I think community in general needs to be better at spreading news of events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously TOs are involved with that, but like players, streamers, content makers, whatever, content, that whole meme. Everyone has to do better at like actually promoting, like, hey, like, like for example, we in Ink TV do a lot of promoting of each other's events too. Not that we're not on bad terms of EGTV or anything like that. It's just that EGTV as of late has only really been doing LANs. So like we promote their LANs and we show their trailers and stuff like that, and they show our trailers. But as a whole, like outside of that, there's not much going on. And
Yeah.
Ink TV, as Blake hasn't been around for this month. Ink TV basically took a break for this month. So there hasn't been as much kind of spreading on the TO side of things that I hope kind of kicks back up.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
even within the community, I think the community itself could really do a good job of like, hey, you don't have to wait till DPG or Genesis. There's a LAN going on in the East Coast this August.
Summer
A
Splat.
major LAN, 3
Yep.
days, like Summer Splat. Check it out.
And we had like a question lovely fast. How do we get better at spreading news and events? I mean, Twitter is a great way to do it.
People don't like retweeting stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
retweet is so simple, and it's what is it going to do? It's going to sit on your timeline and be filtered out. Like,
I mean,
Just
realistically,
hit that green circle. Just do it. Just do it.
I'm pretty sure it's a square.
It looks like a circle to me.
I'm pretty sure it's
the
a square.
retweet
The retweet
button
is
is
a square.
I mean-
like arrows. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's
arrows
like an
making
arrow
a square.
like making
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I mean, you made a good point yesterday. I feel like there's just resources that we're not using, like what you were talking about, the fact of Facebook, Reddit,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
big assets that possibly would pull more people in.
Seriously, if everybody in the Splatoon competitive community started going to Reddit and not just posting but like upvoting our
Yeah.
stuff, it would actually make the front page.
Our stuff is competitive stuff.
Yeah, like competitive stuff.
Or we just need to make a competitive Splatoon subreddit or something like that, which one was recently made. I don't really know.
Well, there's the Splatoon meta one that's been around since day one, but it's always been kind of dead.
No, there's a new one.
There's a new one?
Yeah, it's called Competitive Splatoon 2 or something like that.
Who's in charge of it?
I don't know the name. I don't know who's the admin of it, but there's someone else that got added as a mod that contacted me in Twitter DMs and was also in our Discord server asking about links and stuff like that. So like they're trying to put together stuff, but it needs to be something where it doesn't matter how well put together it is if we don't actually say like, hey, this is being made type of thing. I haven't promoted it yet simply because I'm just waiting for them to kind of like finish getting like set up. But that needs to be something like we just need more hubs.
Yeah.
The only reason I brought it up was because I saw on Twitter, we all know that Melissa did her turf war, Turf the Halls.
Which we'll talk about soon.
I know we're going to talk about that, but the only reason I brought this up is because I saw that under it somebody was like, I didn't know about this. I want to put this in for the Facebook groups that are on Facebook, obviously, which are huge.
They're huge. They're like 22,000 members each. There are 2 separate groups.
So that's why I'm saying, like, for an event like SNS, where you look at, like, they still can pull in, like, 62 teams, that's why when I bring up the question again, like, what else can we do? I guess those are some, like, the things. And people always ask, like, yo, what can we do more? Like, some of us can't travel. Some of us, like, we donate, but it's not sometimes bringing out more people.
Right.
But what can we do to, like, show more faces what's going on in the rest of the scene?
I think another way to do it when you're actually at the events, whether it's a major, whether it's a local, whether it's just you hanging out at a bar talking about Splatoon with whoever, say, hey, this event is happening. Check it out here. There were so many people I spoke to at SNS who were like, I said, hey, am I going to see you at Summer Splat? And they're like, what's that? And I was like, oh my gosh, check it out. It's going to be so much fun. And I would give them the details. And then they said, this sounds great. And we actually had a few people who registered recently because of that. So, it's worth it. Word of mouth.
There's still people on Twitter like this. We've been doing this for over a year now, having both the local events here in Long Island, the Long Island Splat Series, the one-day local lands. But then we also have had 2 beacons. We've had Long Island Summer Splat, and now we're having Summer Splat again this year. There's still people in the Long Island local area on Twitter. They're going like, wait, there's a LAN out here?
There's a LAN out here,
like, because people don't just like, just because you said it once doesn't mean everyone sees it.
Right.
You have to constantly be putting it out there because there's new people that come. People come and go, right?
Yeah.
So
tell your friends, tell your family, tell your children,
everyone.
Tell everyone.
Tweet out streams.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, there's just smack that retweet button for everything. I'm sorry, but do it. And again, I know we got to transition topics, but the one last thing I want to talk about SNS is that I'm not going to get to the details of it. A lot of the details are already known anyway, but there were a couple of not great community behavior at SNS. There was a couple. I'm not talking about one specific event.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, for me, I don't want this to be like a big, like, discussion point. I was like, oh my God, what they do, anything like that. But LANs as a concept are about people coming together because we all love one thing and being surrounded by a bunch of other people that love that same one thing too. And so I just think we as a community should just make sure that when stuff like that happens, we kind of be like, yo, hey, that's not cool, and cut it out.
Yep.
Right then and there.
And
also not get like too crazy about.
Yeah, don't do like witch hunts and stuff.
That's
like that.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
After it happens, leave it alone.
Yes.
Please.
It's done.
Like,
it's
dealt
handled.
with. Yeah.
Move on.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to see people going to Twitter about how awful the community is because one person got banned in SNS. Like, just chill with that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
That stuff happens in every community, and the fact that we've had as little as we've had is actually amazing.
Yes,
and
it
like
is.
a whole week later, people are still making meme teams in League. Like, let it go.
Yep. So, just we're better than that.
Yeah.
We're better than that, especially about this community that preaches so much about being accepting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So again, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to go into the stories or anything like that. I don't think this is the place or the time for that. But just as a general thing, I think this is the first LAN where we actually had like events like that being known about.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make like a general statement.
Yeah.
But with that, I think we should transition to
Yeah.
E3 time.
E3.
E3.
right?
E3.
Well, Splatoon World Championship.
Japan won again. Okay, we
sorry.
can move on.
I mean, who would? Come on.
I'm just kidding.
It was
what
close.
happened was
Number
great.
one.
It was
Japan
close
#1.
there for a little while.
was?
Dude, if the maps
was?
were different,
He's like, it was?
Oh,
What?
I'm
I
telling
thought
you,
so.
if they got more short range maps instead of what they got in the last 4 games right in a row, There was a chance.
There's always a chance. But I still just think that back-to-back zones is a very I personally
They almost had one of those.
No,
zones.
don't get me wrong, they did. But
Yeah.
I really feel like when you go from if you have any, they didn't pick it in favor of Japan. I'm not saying that they picked back-to-back zones for that reason. But I feel like if you have two modes, there are no other modes that were back-to-back besides that, right?
No.
Just
No.
that, yeah.
So I feel like if you have two modes that are back-to-back and you have one team that can either find a way to polarize themselves forward, it's always going to be like a momentum
Huge
shift.
momentum shift.
And no matter what the other team tries to do, it's like trying to fight back in a hole. It's like what you brought up with the set play. It's not like the modes are back-to-back-to-back, but then again, you're going to see another mode that either a team is going to pick and be able to play on and excel on. With this, you got to go back-to-back-to-back, and then the next map is, oh, crap, Kelp Dome Rainmaker.
Also, shout-outs to Trevor for having the VODs
Yeah,
just
these are
on
amazing.
demand in the
Seriously.
background.
Yeah.
Trevor, can
Sick
you run
edition.
all our
Yeah.
I know.
We're just going to come
seriously.
here. We're crashing
I'm gonna
on
fly
every
out, man.
Monday.
I'm gonna fly
now.
out.
do it?
Oh,
It's
God,
not.
that's
It's
We're
not
gonna
that
kill
expensive.
Trevor if we do that.
Yeah, seriously.
For me, it looked like they had the set order, right? It was what was it? Tower control, clan blitz. No, tower control, Rainmaker,
Rainmaker,
clan
Clan
blitz,
Blitz.
splat zones, and then
Zones,
it seemed
yep.
like they just reversed that. Only they just dropped clan blitz for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I know they had to drop a 1 because otherwise you'd be at 8, and they had to have 7.
I
or
mean,
whatever,
for all
but-
we know, they could have just had all of them in a hat and just picked them out.
Yeah, I think that's what they did. They just had 8 modes in a hat, and they just pulled random order. I don't know.
I mean, I say this to anyone that ever asks me. Nintendo is Nintendo, and Nintendo seemingly doesn't go by logic. So
Well, I mean,
Nintendo does what Nintendo wants.
That ties into my main complaint about the E3 thing is, it could be a much more competitive thing if the format was just a little better. Like the turf war round robin into single elim with 4 teams is why not just make that a double elim thing?
Because that would have
or
added extra time.
Yeah, they
not that much more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did seem like
Yeah.
it.
A super press, and on top of that, I still I know that we as a competitive community are kind of not that fond of turf war. Sorry, Melissa, but I know that we as a competitive community are not that fond of turf war.
It's not even the turf war I have a problem with. It's just that what goes up beyond that. They do the turf war for seeding, but they don't actually round robin it. It's just 2 of 3. So the seeding doesn't really make sense. And then you have 2 semifinals where one match is just way overclassed. Sorry Australia, but Japan
That was tough.
that
yeah.
was-
Unlike the first year, because when NA lost to,
well, they lost in a
Australia.
turf war match, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
lost in
Yeah.
a turf war match, which that's fine too. But also it's why wouldn't they just place? I don't know. I feel like there's definitely another way they can do it. I think that they're
All I have
trying
to say
do
is
something weird.
they handle Splatoon, to be fair to them, they handle Splatoon way better than they handle Smash.
Oh yeah.
Outside of that, it's just you can see it. It's very prevalent that they're trying.
and I think the overall stage presence and how they design the stage, there was
It
so
looked
much
amazing.
flair
Oh my
and,
gosh.
and character in on all of that and everything. So
Yeah.
it's not something that I don't think Nintendo doesn't care about Splatoon. And I think this event and even the PAX, PAX was an upgrade, right?
Yeah.
PAX didn't happen last year. It was just one team got to go to E3 and that was it. This year it was 4 teams got to go to PAX.
Yep.
And then the winner of that then got to go to E3. Even if they weren't exactly super prompt about announcing some of the E3 stuff, it was still a huge upgrade over what
Definitely.
they did last year. It's just that there's still these little details that, again, I mean, there was an article that interviewed Bill Trinan, that talking about how Nintendo wants to tackle esports, and Bill Trinan basically is paraphrased in the article as saying we know there's competitive stuff out there that we don't want to encroach upon. We believe that they have their little niche, and we don't want to be competitive with that. Instead, we want to do something that they're not doing, and using our brand and our way to introduce people, basically get their feet wet by doing our own little things.
AKA turf war.
Stuff like that. And then if people aren't interested in it, we basically are just trusting them, I guess. That was the part that was they're going to go find all the competitive stuff. For me, I was reading that, I was just well, what's the bridge? How are they
Yeah,
actually going
it's
to go
like a
find
bridge
that? Because
over.
you guys,
Yeah.
because we need some
I would be
How
on
do we get
promotion
How
on
do we
that
get 40,000
front?
viewers
Yes.
now over to watching
Right, exactly.
all these other
And so,
events?
to me, that was
Yeah.
the kind of the gap that wasn't quite clearly bridged right there. That I think I've been pretty vocal about how Nintendo should be helping bridge that gap a little bit more.
100%.
Because the Nintendo EU actually does a really good job of doing that.
Oh, yeah.
fairly
Nintendo-
good job.
Way better. Okay, relatively compared to
Yeah,
Nintendo.
relatively, yes.
And Nintendo Japan obviously, pushes that really hard because they have the whole Koshin stuff. So
which is also all turf war, which bothers me, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's fun. We're not going to have this discussion.
I
should have made
The
this
next
shirt
shirt is going to
say-
say turf war did everything wrong.
No, it's going to say I heart turf war.
Oh my
Well,
God.
also, besides that, like, how was I saw a good amount of it. Like, I'm not going to say the important parts, but I saw a good amount of it. But just like throughout the whole tournament, like, how did you guys feel about it? Just in general?
I thought it was a really good. I thought this was probably the best one overall.
Okay.
For me personally,
Why?
watching
Yeah.
it? For a couple reasons. I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this. One of the first reasons is squid bagging, because Kyo squid bagged on stage.
Oh, we did it.
And okay, just for the record, there was taunting in the Mario Maker one right before it, right?
Yeah,
there
there was.
There
There
was a
was.
little
Okay.
taunting, right? So it
Yeah.
wasn't something like just
They even called it out. It wasn't
Yes.
just that people
the,
saw
the
it. They
casters legitimately said like, "Oh, like a little
a little taunt,
showboating,
yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that." You know what I mean? So that framed it in the context of like, hey, the casters are mentioning it. And it's lighthearted, it's spirited, nature of competition and stuff like that. And then Kyo made a big play in an important game and did a little squid bagging and stuff like that. And I was like, again, I know some people are not going to be happy about this.
I don't care if you're not happy about it. You're an idiot if you think squid bagging
Well,
is
no.
a horrible thing.
I don't think we need to go that
I
far.
think we need to
personally.
go that far.
I don't think we need to go that far personally. But I was happy to see something like that because it is the nature of competition. And again, it can show like, they still said GGs afterwards. They're on stage and everything like that. It can be something that can be done in a lighthearted manner and like everything, so on and so forth. I'm not going to talk about that more than that. The second big thing, though, is that we had more close matches this year.
Yeah.
Even the turf war games, it felt like there was overall some more that were closer this year than others.
Yeah.
For me personally. So those are the two reasons I liked it more this year.
I loved the showmanship of it. I thought that personally, I think whenever you watch Splatoon, it is a show. It's an experience, and there's something you can look at from the competitive point of view of analytics, but there's also just you're putting on a show. You're entertaining people, and I think knocked it out of the park. Absolutely amazing. Everything from the stage, which we mentioned, phenomenal, and I'm like going to my parents this weekend. I'm going to have my dad make us little like ink things like that for this because amazing. And then I think the casters did a great job too. I think the camaraderie of it felt really nice and it was a show. Do I think that on the side of analytics, maybe it could have been a little stronger for us on the competitive scene? Yes. But it was a show and that's what I really enjoyed about it. And I can say that 1,000 times. I can't say that enough.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I also know that Nintendo doesn't want that to be any more in-depth because I know Nine
Right.
can commentate in a more in-depth
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
even.
Like it's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
deliberate. Like it's for the people that don't really play Splatoon like at all, let alone like on a casual level. Like they're trying to get people to look at the game and be like, all right, I'm gonna buy Splatoon.
It's fun.
Yeah, they had 44,000 viewers
Yeah.
when they first
and
started
I'm
that.
fine with that mentality.
Yeah.
Like
Also-
I just want them to go like bridge the other end of it and start getting people to like that all are playing Splatoon are playing a lot of the game to like start looking at communities like us. Like imagine if there was just like
Yeah.
a link on the stream at any point to Academy or something like, hey, if you're interested in competitive Splatoon, there's this whole huge resource.
But Nintendo can't do that because
No.
then they're pushing something that they don't control.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like
well, I mean that's their
they've-
own fault.
I agree. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've had agreements with them before. Other events have had agreements with them before. I mean, even at Genesis, they tweet Nintendo Versus. That's what Nintendo Versus thing, as far as we're aware of, is supposed to be for.
But that's like a legal agreement that they make with the organization.
They promoted Beacon last year.
Yeah.
But that was also by reaching out to us.
Right,
They
that's
can't,
what I'm saying, but
yeah,
That's not happening anymore.
right. And we're not
So
we're
that's what
not
he's
sure.
saying. That's what they could do
But
easily.
yeah,
They don't.
right. I
'Cause
mean, I
that
think
was a
they need
huge
to
number
reach out
boost.
for
Yes,
yeah.
it was.
I mean, the thing is, like, what caused them just to drop off? Could you say it's numbers? I don't know, but like, it just feels like
It's a little. I mean, I can't really get into specifics. But
okay, obviously, but
it's hard to contact them, and they have other priorities right now.
okay,
It's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is.
That's fair.
Yeah. I will say though that viewership-wise at the E3 stuff, Splatoon had more than Smash. I checked in towards like the end of the Smash, and they were like around like the 30 to 33,000.
Can we be fair? I mean, like, as I said before, the Splatoon is still in itself it's still core Splatoon competitive. Like,
Yeah.
besides your turf war, that some people can argue they want it in there. For some people, the Smash tournaments are almost like a slap in their face.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So a lot of
Yeah.
them, they're just
Yeah.
like, they don't
I
even want
refuse
to.
to
They
watch
refuse
this.
I
to
agree.
watch it.
Yeah.
That still didn't stop the whole like one Smash Resident Sleeper stuff in the Twitch chat. And
They're
stuff.
always
Like,
gonna do that.
Twitch
They're
chat
always
is Twitch
gonna
chat,
do that.
and then as soon as it starts, they go items lol and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so-
So I mean, like,
For them, I feel it's a little bit different. It's not drawing in that community, and I don't think they really care. But with like Splatoon, it's really shown that like they can actually draw in the casual and the competitive community at the same time, and still like mesh together. Even though, lol, turf war, but people still play it.
I mean, even
And-
in general in Splatoon, I think that's kind of where our longevity lies. Like, like I rag on turf war and competitive, but I still think there should be turf war tournaments, which we can tie into what Melissa just did this weekend later. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I think there's a place for it. Like, and I think we should do more of it. But also at the same time, like, if you're if you're trying to showcase the best of the best, being the best at the game, like turf war maybe is not the way to do it. I'm happy with the compromise that they have now, where it's like a seeding thing into a final bracket. I think they can there's some way that they can adjust that to make it a little bit better overall. Because if Australia had gotten to play NA or EU, like they might have taken a game off or whatever and shown that hey, like
it's closer than we think.
Yeah.
it's
closer
closer
than
than
we
you think.
think.
Like we're not that far behind. Like they really are pretty good over there.
Yeah.
Like their biggest problem they have is just how freaking far away they are. Like they can't come to lands and stuff. But and then NA and EU, it's like if EU had gotten a chance to play against Japan, like who knows? They had a much better matchup team comp wise with Japan's comp. Like they might have done better. But NA beat them, so they never got the chance to play. So that's my problem with it.
I agree.
Is like
I see
all
what
these
you're saying.
teams are, so close. Like they should be all playing each other at some point.
Okay.
I can understand that. Anyone shocked by the results?
No.
Nope.
Come on, you know me. I made a bet on Japan the last year.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Well,
I'm not. I was. You know what? I was like when
I
I
already
heard,
knew what your answer was. Don't worry.
I would have made the same bet again. But in all honesty, I was really surprised when like people were. I looked in the Discord, people all screaming, "Yo, they're up 2-0, they're up 2-0, they're up 2-0." I'm like, oh
Almost
my goodness,
3-0.
Like,
they
yo, is this-
almost 3-0.
is this really gonna happen? Because obviously everybody NA side is gonna run with the small sample size. Look, they were able to beat a Japanese team. We might actually be better. So it would have been cool just for the narrative of it all, just like people running with it. And I to be honest, like I really thought it was. I thought it was obviously what you said, the best one that we've seen with like Japan going against like NA. Obviously, yeah. So I'll end there. But yeah, that's my opinion.
For me, I expected the result. I expected Japan to win. I was obviously rooting for NA. And then once NA beat EU in that hype set, and you could tell they had like good momentum going into it, I was like, maybe there's a chance. And then I saw like the map mode list. Actually, we just saw the mode list. We didn't even see the maps until they started playing, which was kind of unfortunate.
Was it random? Like what was the map picks? Like I don't.
No,
get it.
I don't think it was random because they knew like a week beforehand or something like that. I think they got told.
I literally groaned when I saw Kelp Dome, and I had to go out and feed my meter for my car, and I was like, okay. And that's when I got up today.
For me, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I think they're going to lose Clan Blitz in both the zones. So, but I think they can win tower control based on how they're playing. And I think they can win Rainmaker because Japan, as far as I know, they don't really play much Rainmaker overall. And based on the fact that we're running like double backline, I was just like, okay, they can win those things.
They brought out some interesting comps.
Yeah. So
Double custom jet.
Yeah, that humpback.
Whatever.
Was interesting.
So I think going into it, I was like, okay, if they can win the first two, survive the middle, and then win the last Rainmaker and tower control, I think they would have a chance to do it.
Okay.
And that was looking like what was going to happen. But then two things ended up happening. One, they could have won the Clan Blitz game and then fell apart in the last, 10 seconds of that, which was unfortunate.
Clan Blitz.
It was a very close game.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Clan Blitz on Snapper,
Yeah,
which historically is
super heavily in favor of the GG Boys comp too.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then the Muscle Forge Zones game. In my opinion, they threw that game because
Yes,
so
agree.
close.
because they won the last big fight with all the specials. So literally all they had to do was just not die, and they died. all of them.
Without any specials from GG Boys, by the way.
GG Boys had 0 specials,
They
not even
just
close.
pushed in.
And they just walked into the middle of the map and died. Like,
Yes. So that was unfortunate. I thought if either of those games were different, I think that kind of deflated their momentum and everything like that. Because they're still playing good afterwards, but it wasn't with that same kind of like spark and edge to it.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, okay, NA has a chance. And then those 2 games happened. I was just like, yeah. But end result, Japan win. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
But congratulations to everybody who participated.
Mhm.
And it was awesome to see you guys on like a main stage in front of all those people,
It was.
you know, and to say we know you all. I think that was pretty cool. So,
And then what else? We got 4 viewer
uh,
questions. We got one more thing to talk about before viewer questions, right?
well, we just want to touch really quickly on that Splatfest announcement with the Splatfest
Oh, yeah.
maps and modes. So I am super, super excited, and I can't wait, and I'm planning to integrate it into the Turf the Halls format. You can Resident Sleeper all you want. It's going to be so much fun. Literally, okay, stop. Literally, I was in VC with people, and that happened, and I started jumping up and down. I can't even sit still right now. I was so excited because I'm just like, you know what? This is so cool. There are some maps on there that are actually viable and can be a lot of fun.
100%.
And you get to pick your own ink colors. We get like sparkle ink. Like, I'm sorry if that makes me really superficial about the game,
do you get to
but
pick
I'm so
the ink
excited.
colors,
Yes,
or-
you get to pick the pairs, the pairings.
Only in that mode.
So like you can choose like, oh, I want the ketchup mayo
Yes.
colors. You can't
Okay.
choose. I want the ketchup color.
You can't choose any color.
and
you
the
have to-
ice cream
you-
color.
Yeah, you choose specific
Yeah.
Splatfest ink or color pairs. For me, I'm not nearly as hype about it as you are.
I know.
But
I'm probably the most hype about it
yes,
of
but
anyone.
I think it's a really nice addition. As far as something news-wise, they could announce after a tournament that is still like significant without being like, you know, like, oh, by the way, we're like, here's more new weapons. Here's
Well, they don't have any of that.
we're doing another year's worth of updates.
That's what I thought they were
and-
coming
and
with.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not another single player expansion.
I'm
you
glad
know.
that they're ending, FYI.
Yes,
'Cause that means
exactly.
3's coming.
So for me, I think that all that stuff's really cool, and I do agree. I always thought that one of the best ways to actually kind of integrate Turf War into the competitive community was using some of the Shifty Station maps they had for Splatfest, because you actually add elements to it that are unique, and on top of that, competitively play a role, right? That's the whole point of Splatfest, right? You have these unique elements that you have the Thunderdome, you have the one where you shoot I forget what it was called, but it had a little conveyor belt, so you shoot
I
it
love
and
that
then
one.
it got locked away.
That's one of my favorite.
Type of part of
of
map got
any of
locked
them.
away. Yeah, like you have these really unique elements that actually add a competitive twist to it, and so that part's really cool. I wish I didn't take it until like the last major update of the game.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
get it.
It gives us a lot of time to play with that as a competitive option for
I
things.
don't think it gives us a lot of time to play with it. That's the point, is that they give it to us at the quote unquote last update of the game.
But I mean-
they're no longer going to really actively be supporting us with new content. It's the last Splatfest.
But like that also allows the competitive community to say, and maybe I'm the only one who's thinking like this, but to say, hey, there's no Splatfest. Let's make our own this month. And for the month of
You
August,
were probably the only one thinking about that in the competitive
Yeah.
community.
I mean, it
in
would
the
be,
You are the
competitive
only one.
community.
Yeah.
In the competitive community.
and maybe I need to go to the Sloshfest Discord to find that. You know, maybe that's like like somewhere where people are playing just to play. Splatfest is where you're going to find those types of things. But I think that it would be a lot of fun to have that.
Yes, I think it could be fun, and I think, again, I'm all for this. I just think it's unfortunate it got implemented so late into it. Was all.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
my
agree.
thing.
So,
I was still holding out hope for Shifty Station Builder. Like,
That'd be
you know,
cool.
that would be
custom
so
I didn't even think
cool.
about that.
That'd be a lot.
That's like Splat 4.
I know that's going to be a Splat.
Splat-
3. Well, I
Splat
think it's
4.
Splat.
We're just
3
skipping
thing.
Splat 3.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you right now, that's not
Splat
getting
3
into Splat 3. That's Splat 4.
Splat 3 is
I-
just going to be Splatoon 2 Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
I seriously
Definitive
think
Edition.
if they added that into Splatoon 3, that's like the biggest single feature for the game possible. Because the idea of being able to create your own custom maps and modes in Splatoon would just like, it would just be unreal.
like
the
a-
amount of community support that we get. It's just like, I don't even know how that's not just like a duh thing for them.
Mhm.
That's
Like, especially with Mario Maker, like they know that stuff like sells
True,
games. Like
true.
seriously,
They-
like just do it.
At least with the new Mario Maker, because the first one had a very defined, only Mario established things. Now it's like, oh, you can collect a certain amount of coins, kill a certain amount of enemies. Now they're finally adding more like unique options. But I agree with that. That'd be a cool thing to add.
That would be really cool.
And then this isn't as much to talk about because we don't know as much, but the update 5.0 will be coming out at the same time. That could, as far as we know, that could be the last significant major update to the game.
I would say it
Balance-
probably
Yeah, I
is.
think that's our
balance-wise?
last balance
Yeah.
patch. Yes.
Yeah.
That could be our last balance patch.
So
Unless something crazy happens to it, like
Yeah.
that they just like overbuff something.
I
or whatever,
could see
but-
them doing like, there's like a 5.0 and then there's like a 5.5 when it gets closer to like Splatoon 3, just to kind of like, if it, depending on how far out Splatoon 3 is,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I could see them like, but it would be like, I don't know, January or something like that, or, you know, January next year. It would be a long time before we get that.
Yeah. I mean, somebody asked like on our Twitter, but I think since we're kind of talking about it right now, what are your predictions for Splatoon 3? I'm going to hold fast that we're going to get some sort of teaser at that last Splatfest week.
I don't think there's going to be. I think
Yeah,
January
no.
next year is the earliest we're going to hear about it, and I think it's going to come like summer next year. That's my guess.
Like summer 2020.
Hmm
That soon.
It's about what happened with this
That's
one. They
his-
stopped updates for Splatoon 1, and about a year later, we got Splat 2. Like,
I think that that more had to deal with like the life of the Wii U more than had to deal with the
Yeah.
game itself.
I don't know. They definitely had more stuff in the engine that they could have just continued supporting Splat 1 or just ported it over. Like, there's a lot of things they could have done. But they
Genuine-
stopped development and then came out with the new one like a
Okay.
year-ish later.
I personally, for me, I think that if we were to look at a new Splatoon 3, I think that it would be basically on the birth of maybe like a better Switch rather than just like a new game.
But
like,
there's
you
already
know,
rumors about a better Switch.
they
coming
kind of
out.
killed those a little bit, but you never know. People will bring rumors about it, but I really think
Yeah.
that like maybe first you'll see either whatever it is. If we get a new console like the next 2 years, say what it is, whatever it is, that's where I think we'll go instead of like next year Splatoon 3.
I own a Switch because of Splatoon.
That's true.
It's definitely the earliest it could possibly
Yeah.
be is next year, middle of the year. But I also think that the latest it's going to be is the year, like the first half of the year in 2021. So like,
Okay.
I think if we don't get the release next year, we're gonna get the announcement next year. That's for sure. From in my head, like I can't even imagine a different reality, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in that same boat,
Really?
mainly because Japan.
Okay.
The game is,
It's so huge.
it's
there.
like, isn't it like the like top 2 game in Japan on the Switch?
I think it was one for a long time. Like
Yeah.
it's
Like I don't even know what would
huge.
beat it over in Japan right now. To be
I have
perfectly
no
honest.
idea.
Because like
Okay.
Zelda doesn't do as well in Japan.
No.
It still did pretty freaking well.
It broke
Mario-
records in Japan.
The two things that possibly might have beaten it is Mario Kart and Odyssey. Those are the only two I could see beating
yeah.
it. But
and
I don't know the numbers. I'm just
Yeah.
that's just me being.
I'm sure someone in chat probably
guessing,
does.
but-
There's,
Yeah,
there's
I
always
mean,
someone out there. Whoa.
Year to date, it
Oops.
says like the system is PS4 with Switch right behind it.
But it's like game copies.
Yeah, like games sold.
Of
Yeah.
Splatoon in Japan. So for me,
Regardless, Splatoon's huge there.
For me,
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
huge.
I think it's a combination of the fact that they're being very public about this being the last Splatfest.
Okay.
So we know we're not going to get any more. They're very public about no more weapon updates, and they already gave us one more extra after that. They haven't specifically said that patch 5.0 is going to be the last one, but like everything else is done. So it seems like that would be the last one, right? So for me, it seems like what I could see happening is they could announce it at E3 tomorrow in the sense of like a short like 10, 15 second thing. It doesn't have to be like a lot of gameplay or anything like that. Just like Platoon 3, similar to what they kind of did for like
Metroid
Metro
Prime
I was about to say
4.
Metro Prime 4.
Yeah.
And then like around January or something like that, we get the Splatoon 3 Direct that finally announces a lot of the details, the actual release date.
That's why I was
stuff
saying
like
we're going to
that.
get a teaser first, and then
I could see a teaser. I'm not hopeful about it. I could just see it happening tomorrow. But it's not like I'm not betting money on it by any means.
Yeah.
I don't think
Um,
they'll do that just because I feel like with Metroid Prime they kind of learned their lesson. Like they did that to Metroid Prime and the other ones simply because they needed to prove that these games were being made because they needed people confident in the Switch. I don't think Splatoon is going to get announced until they have, substantial amount of stuff done to like show to the public. Like I
Yeah.
think the January Direct next year, honestly, like that's where I'm thinking Splatoon is going to Splatoon 3 is going to get announced.
I googled. I just want to set it down. 2018 top selling software. The first one was Monster Hunter World, then Smash Ultimate, and then Pokemon. We forgot about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Pokemon is huge in Japan.
But that's just 2018.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
Over the course of the life of the Switch, though.
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
and
Pokemon
then
came out-
2017
Splatoon
is,
Yeah.
20
Pokemon came out in 2018, whereas Splatoon came out in 2017.
yeah,
So you'd have to consider that.
It's total numbers that that
Yeah.
we're kind of talking about there.
Anyway,
Regardless.
yeah.
I think we should move on because
I agree. I just wanted to kind of
Yeah, it's all good.
So the next thing I want to talk about is my Turf the Halls that
Yes.
happened yesterday, and it was so much fun. When I originally kind of talked to you guys, I think I talked to you about it first, CJ, and I had said I want to do a Turf War tournament. I talked to you about it first, way before anything, and I said, who should I talk to about this? And Kendall was like, bring it up with GSM. I spoke with DJ, and right away he's like, no. And
That's not what I said.
yes, it
at
is.
all.
Yes, it is. And then I said, but wait. And you said, what?
do we
And
need to
I
go to
said,
the
this
logs
is
for
a
this?
solo. No, this was before logs. This was in person. This was at Beacon.
Oh, okay.
This was at Summer Splat last year. And I said, but it's a solo tournament. And you're like, huh? And then when I explained my format to you, you were intrigued. But the first thing you said was no. That is what you said.
I don't remember.
See, just,
I wasn't involved.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm abstaining.
We were standing right there behind Trevor's chair, and Trevor then shooed us away because we were talking
Right behind his
right
head
behind
while
his
he's trying
head,
to work.
and he was like, "Go away," and that's literally where it happened. So
Shush, the real people are working.
yeah, we're not talking about turf war here. So, but the whole concept that I had for this was the idea that we have people come in as single players, so that you don't have to worry about someone DCing, a team like fully wiping you and then losing, or teammates not being able to play or whatever. So I only gave it like a maximum of 4 days, I think, for people to sign up, because I wanted to do it on my birthday. That was like a big deal for me. And
The crown and the cake.
oh, I didn't even realize you had that too. Like, what? Yeah, I still have that crown on my headset at home. 'Cause it's so cute. So
It's still your special day.
either way, it was a lot of fun. We had 27 signups, and I think we had 25 people play. So 2 people who signed up and then they last minute said they couldn't play, which I think was awesome. And from what I could tell, feedback went really well. So how I had it structured was 3 sets of 10, where you go into the lobby and you queue into a battle, regular turf war battle. You don't have to play with people. You don't have to do it. I started it at 3 p.m. Eastern. I said, go play your first 10. And after that, you left the lobby, tallied up. After each match, you wrote down your score, your P score, number of turf inked points, minus if you won your 1,000-point bonus. So if I inked 1180 and I lost, my score is 1180. If I inked 1180 and I won, it would show 2180, but I still mark 1180.
Is it 1,000 or 300 bonus? I thought
It's
it was
1,000. It's 1,000 bonus. Yeah. So that's where I was thinking, like, those points would just become kind of your personal score. So I had that going, and right away realized 30 turf war matches is way too much. So my kind of plans for moving forward is it's going to be 15, and I still think that people had a good time, and it seemed like it was a lot of fun. I know that you guys were hanging out in chat for a little bit while people were playing, but
I had
you
it up
guys
the
were
entire
working,
time.
so.
There's just sometimes where I was more active than others.
Yeah.
I was busy
Thank
dying
you.
and working and driving home and hating myself.
I was at a wedding.
Yeah. Doing real life
So
things.
he's the only one that had a valid excuse. So the best way I could describe it as like an outsider was that this is like Splatoon's version of like Battle Royale in a way.
Seriously.
Not because you're going around and like you're the last one surviving or anything like that, but like how Battle Royale tournaments happen is that you play multiple rounds and you get points depending on how well you do on those rounds.
Yeah.
And they play like they'll do like a certain amount of matches, eliminate the bottom cut, do some more, eliminate the bottom cut. That's like pretty classic for example how Battlegrounds does their tournaments, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So from that perspective, I was just like, this is actually a really neat implementation. I know originally this was something that you wanted to be a GSM thing, and I don't know if that's now, if you're going to keep it as just your own thing or bring it into GSM, whatever you want to do with that. But as an outsider perspective, who again is like kind of rather indifferent to turf war, I actually thought that it intrigued me. It was someone that didn't really have much emotion to it. It was like, yeah, this is actually kind of neat. So like, I think if you keep growing it, it can definitely grow into something really, really cool. I can talk more about other feedback later, but just in general, for the people out there, watching and wondering about it, it's definitely something where me as a heavy competitive player that plays in Deep Blues, it's like only does competitive Splatoon, even I was intrigued by it. And
Taylor played.
And Taylor played in it too.
Yeah.
So and Taylor got third in it, I believe. So
yeah.
Who got first?
So
Who won?
It's a
Gaxer.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Garxer. I can't pronounce
Yeah,
their name
he's in a lot of Twitch chats.
Yeah.
Or they're in a lot of
and
Twitch
then
chats.
Blush came in second, and
Yes.
Taylor was third.
By 2 points.
2 points.
First and second were separated by 2
Yeah.
points.
And
Yeah.
I love too, because it really shows how well matched people were, even in general. You're a competitive player, you're focusing on your objective, which is inking. So I liked that. I had like a top 8
Any
from
like weapon?
all this.
Any like
I'd
weapon?
be interested to see which weapons people
Yeah.
use. Like, is it just like
Rusty-
mini and that's it? Like,
No,
I feel like-
No.
the Rusty Zap. The Rusty Unzap.
Rusty
Zap,
Zap,
yeah,
was used
yeah.
a lot.
People also played. There was somebody in those top 8 that played the L3, I think, too.
Yeah, I mean, Japan.
Yeah, yeah. But I was still kind of shocked. We had a blah blobber.
Yep.
We did have some of that Explosher that was coming up a little bit that people were saying they played. So that was kind of neat.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think it was really fun, and I would like to kind of integrate it into what we do with GSM at the very least, because we need staff to make it more viable.
Yeah.
Because in order to kind of keep everybody honest, when there's more than just, hey, this is like a proof of concept, I need people to like be in those lobbies and set it up as more of a PB format. So it was fun.
She thinks she's guilting us into saying yes
I'm
by
not
doing it on
guilting.
stream.
I'm not
But
guilting
I had
you
already
into it.
said yes.
I'm not guilting
I had
you
already
into
said
it.
we should do it.
I'm not guilting you into
I
it.
said we should do it in December.
And we're going to.
Yeah.
Splat. I mean, like,
We are?
yeah, Turf the Halls. That's where the
That's where the
December
name
name
came
comes
from.
from.
I know that, but it's like. I guess we're doing it.
I'm-
Congratulations.
We're
It's
doing
out.
it.
That's
We're
why
doing
it's a chat in our Discord. It's like been the thing for forever.
Because it's
So,
been discussed forever doesn't mean it's actually happening.
I'm gonna make it happen. I mean,
Gotta get some big names next time.
that's the plan.
That'd be huge.
That's the plan.
The big turf war names out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
All these super popular turf war streamers.
Hey, if you want to go that route, for those, I'm going to spit out some little League of Legends lore here. The first major competitive North American team of League of Legends internationally was Cloud9, and one of their players, they found one of their players because that player never actually played the ranked mode of League of Legends. He just played the normal draft mode and was top 5 in that. And they somehow ran into him and was just like, holy crap, you're really good. How come I've never seen you? He goes, oh, I don't play the ranked modes. And then he ended up being a superstar player for the team for many years and still plays the game competitively.
Wow.
So I'm sure there are top player privileged Turf War players out there.
Yeah, you're top Turf War streamer NA, right? That's what you've called yourself previously.
No matter who streams the game, it could be Ninja, it could be anybody, it could be Dude. I'll tell him right now. I don't care if he has 500 viewers. As long as I'm streaming Turf War, I'm the #1 streamer. Doesn't matter who's streaming it. So you can have 5,000 viewers. You can have.
So then we
whatever it
just
is.
need the big names
But
meaning
yeah,
you.
basically, I have to come take my crown. I'm not gonna win.
No, that's my crown.
I'm not gonna
You
win.
can have your
so
own.
it's okay. You can have it.
Did you say you're not going to win?
No.
Oh.
I'm not.
You're the #1 streamer, but you're not the #1 turfer.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm the #1 Turf War streamer. So
Ah, okay,
it's
gotcha,
self-proclaimed. That's all it really is.
That's what he's
It's
taking.
in that particular title, you're not the #1 at turf war. You're not the #1 streamer. You're just the #1 turf war streamer.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So awesome. All right. So thank you guys, everyone who came out and tried it out, and always taking more feedback from that. So we're going to hit up some viewer questions now, which I have in front of me on this tweet. Let me just refresh to make sure that they're all new. The first thing, Shaq, if you're listening, we would love to have you at another point. We want to set something up with you guys. So
Yeah, once you guys get back
Reach
from
out.
E3, reach out to us.
yeah,
And we can try to set up
Seriously, that'd be
something
good.
where
like
you-
an
you
actual
guys-
thing.
where you guys can come on it here and tell you guys a story of E3. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
would.
great. That'd be great.
You too, Kia.
We call it special episode Life of Shaq.
And Kia.
And Keel's there too.
Featuring Kia. Special Life of Shaq featuring Kia.
Shaq's mom has to be there, though, and that's the way I make it happen. Slimy asked, will Summer Splat have a Duck Game side event? If you want to run it, we're down.
Yeah, sure. Bring it, Slimy.
Yeah. Rockseed, looking at the Splatoon World Cup, do you think we'll be seeing a lot more longer range comps in the NA, and do you think teams will always be running something Stingray from now on? Haven't they always run something Stingray?
It was kind of falling out for a little bit after that last nerf, but this event was proof that it's never really died.
For last nerf?
How long
where
it's it didn't do as much damage to armor or something like that, and then people started having to run an object shredder.
That lasted maybe a week or two or something.
I mean, like it's always been around, but it's not like it's been a while since it's felt like every comp has to have a Stingray on these modes or you lose. And like every game, I think part of it though is not just that Stingray is really good right now. It's that custom jet, that buff, definitely helped it a lot. And I think custom jet is very good, and it has Stingrays, so you're seeing a lot of Stingrays.
On top of that, I think if Ganban Mumi is in the chat, they can maybe back this up. So for those that don't know, Japan has a weekly Splat Zones only tournament called Arena Cup, if I remember correctly. And as far as I can remember, every single one of those in the past month has had a charger in the top 8. Like every single team that makes top 8 has a charger on it. Like guaranteed. I think the only time that kind of dropped off, or the only time you don't really see that, is if you have like a ballpoint only type of player, typically. So like the vast majority have that charger Stingray backline. I think what was interesting was seeing with the double backline. That's the part that you don't really see, or you have not really seen in Arena Cup. But I think that's just GG Boys basically saying, like, this meta is not really in our favor in terms of like what we normally actually play, but we're just still that good that we're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. DJ Stacked, yes. Future asked, not directly Splatoon related, but any predictions for tomorrow's E3 Direct? We already kind of all agree we're not going to see any Splatoon anything.
Animal Crossing is not happening.
You don't think so?
All of you guys are going
It's
to
all
cry.
delayed till 2019.
Dang, Kendall.
I mean, Animal
Wow.
Crossing says it's coming out for 2019.
Kendall's Team Chaos over here.
A little bit.
Just watch the Elmo burning gif. Just like,
Yes.
no Animal Crossing.
I just want to collect the salt. That's it. It's my turn.
Kendall's a salt miner.
Anything else? Nah. Not, I mean, I feel like everything's been like.
I wanna see some Bayonetta 3.
We'll see some Bayonetta, I think. They have to.
They
That'd be
have
huge.
to.
That'd
They've
be
already
cool,
said it's
actually.
coming out.
I mean,
like
the thing
Christmas,
is, like,
so
I don't know what kind of completely unheard of stuff we're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of
I
this,
don't think
like
there's a surprise.
we have like a new IP of like Astral Chain. We have Town, the Game Freak project that's coming up that we don't know like anything about. Bayonetta 3, we probably won't, but Metroid Prime 4. Animal Crossing. We already know what's going to be on the show floor, so that's means Luigi's Mansion,
Yeah.
Pokemon. What else was on that?
Mario Maker 2.
Mario Maker, and then Link's Awakening remake.
I feel like it's not going to be anything really new.
So it's
I don't
like
think
it's
so
like
either.
what room left is there for like new stuff? Obviously, the Smash DLC we got told there'll be like a new
course.
player announced for that or character. So it's like. And Fire Emblem, of course, they have to show off some Fire Emblem stuff because that's coming up. That's like their next big game, right?
yeah.
Or after Mario Maker. After Mario Maker is
yeah.
Fire Emblem. So it's like,
Yeah.
what new like I don't if there's anything like completely new that we haven't heard of before, I don't know what it could be,
Yeah.
and I don't see it.
Pikmin 4, chat saying.
Yeah,
Pikmin 4 is also something that's technically been announced, right? Like
I mean, they said it was almost done, but we have seen nothing.
We've
Nothing.
seen,
Yeah.
we haven't even gotten a teaser
So
for it. Just a hey, we're working on it.
I guess in that sense, it's like even though you know it's coming,
Yeah.
we haven't seen anything. We haven't even seen like a art or logo for it or anything like that. So I guess in that sense, but like outside of that, it's just like I don't really know, and they have so much other stuff that they're probably gonna want to talk about.
Yeah.
'Cause they're going to
that-
feature some indies too, I'm sure.
I'm
They
sure,
did
yeah.
done that.
With everything going on E3 with E3 also, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it's just gameplay, and that's really it. Like
Yeah. So
more on Pokemon, more on anything
I
else.
I'm actually sorry chat. I don't think you should have high expectations for Nintendo
No.
tomorrow.
No, I agree.
Nintendo historically, as soon as they have a very high E3, which was last year,
Yeah.
they have a very low E3 next year. That's kind of historically what Nintendo's been.
I don't
I
even
think-
think this is going to be a low E3. I think there's just not going to be any like
They
big
just
wow
don't have
moment.
stuff. They
you
just-
know?
I think
Yeah, yeah.
also
They have
though,
stuff.
They have
just don't
stuff.
have any
It's
stuff
out.
we're not
They
already
don't be like,
aware
oh
of.
my god, Bayonetta, oh my
Yeah.
god, Metroid Prime. Like, there's
But
not
also,
gonna be those
like-
like freak out moments.
In before they do actually announce Splatoon 3 for like holidays.
I
this
know
year,
Yeah,
that would be
we just
wild.
all
Again,
lose our
yeah.
minds.
Again, Nintendo does what Nintendo wants. They don't go by logic.
Yeah, that is very true.
But also, like in terms of how I view anything, if you go in with low expectations, you're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So just go in with low expectations and expect nothing, and then be happy with whatever we
They're
get.
not gonna show Animal Crossing.
They're not. honestly, I kind of agree. I think if we
I
see
feel like
Animal
they gotta-
Crossing,
I feel
it'll
like there's
be
gonna
by
be
itself.
something.
I think they're gonna show Animal Crossing and then say delayed to 2020.
Yeah.
That would
That's
absolutely.
honestly what I think's gonna
We know
happen.
you're excited for Animal Crossing, but we're gonna have to delay. But thank you for being patient. Here's a trailer. Like
Yeah.
that.
I think that's
what we're gonna get.
legitimately what's gonna happen. I'm sorry,
Same.
guys.
We want to
sorry.
make sure
Don't
the
you like
game is
mobile
in
games?
its
We're making updates to the.
Oh
prime
god.
condition.
Oh yeah, they might actually talk about their Mario Kart mobile game.
Yeah.
That also.
Isn't there a new,
Imagine
and the
10 minutes
new-
being devoted to that.
Oh god.
People would the Diablo immortals all over again. What? Don't
Literal
you guys have
riots in the
smartphones?
church. Oh my god.
Moving on. Kata asks, "How do I good?"
Okay.
Yeah.
Kata's
Um,
don't
How
worry
do you
about 'em.
good? You stop be bad.
There you go.
Jorian asks, "Expectations for Summer Splat? It's gonna be amazing and awesome. And if you're not registered, do it
So
now."
we got an awesome grill out cookout planned for Friday. Kind of like the staple of Summer Splat. And then we got a lot of other really cool stuff. We got we can't share any details yet, but we can say that a really cool poster is being made.
Yeah. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yep. And registration is actually really high at this time of year.
Yeah.
We actually are already. I think we got one registration during this,
We're double where we were last year at this point.
and that brings us up to 65 total, if I remember correctly. I think. And that's
Wow.
not even including a bunch of other people that I know are coming.
Yeah.
That just haven't.
Yeah, that
signed up
haven't
yet.
that haven't signed up.
Like 3 of my teammates.
Well, I mean, did Power register yet?
No, nor did Astral.
Power
Nor did
Power
Jess.
is
The one
coming.
person-
I
the one
literally told
person-
him.
The one person from Cali has registered, but not the 3 from New York.
Wow.
Taylor was pushed by DJ.
Yes, but my point still stands.
Yeah. But I told Power when I saw him, I had the pleasure, I got to actually meet Power in person, and it was a fantastic weekend for me for that. And I told him, I'm picking you up if you have no other ride. And he laughed and said, okay. And I said, we're best friends now. And he agreed. So,
There
you
you
know.
go.
He has no choice.
Yeah, we're friends on Discord now. I feel great.
No, legitimately, he has no choice.
Yeah, he'll be there. So, you know.
I mean, he bailed last time, right?
Yeah,
So,
I
so
literally
he
said
bailed,
that to
he bailed
him.
because Tic Tac was his teammate.
No, well, fair.
Every GSM Live, I just have to like subtly kind of like throw something at Tic Tac.
Tic Tac followed me on Twitter.
Ooh, exciting.
I know.
But no, that was more so because Tic Tac, they had a team of 3, and then they couldn't find a 4th, and Tic Tac was awful at actually trying to find a 4th. So much to the point where I had to tweet for Tic Tac, and by that point it was like a week before it happened, and it was just like, come on, Dad.
It was weird because he asked me to be the 4th at one point. I was like, no, I can't. Like I have to do stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next
All right.
question.
So sign up for Summer Splat. If we can get one of our mods to pop a link in chat, do it right now. You can get an awesome tank top too, which will be so cool. And I have things that I want to do planned for that. So
Thank you,
stay
Meeks,
tuned.
big fan.
All right. So Hitzel says, what do you guys think of the shifty station maps with like the ones with the domes and the extending floor that make mid-game map control and paint permanently affect the end of a turf match? We talked about this a little bit earlier. We all think it's pretty cool and a little more viable in terms of competitive play than any of the other shifties. A little more.
I think it straight up adds.
It's worth looking at. I'll give it that.
I mean, as someone that played it during the actual Turf Force stuff,
I did too.
Even solo, it's just like I don't know. I straight up, it adds more competitive elements.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that events that other people put on, it equals getting more casual players inside to actually want to play it because it's like something cool. It's just like Salmon Run. It's just something to keep casual players going, wanting them to keep playing the game. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And Sea Scraper Tournaments question, when's Splat 3 coming out? We talked about that too. TBD. We all have different feelings on this.
Yeah.
And
Let me just call up my friend at Nintendo and let you know.
so the day we find out, though, maybe
got
we
you.
can all get together and do this again.
Sorry, Kendall, you have to come here from Canada.
You're going to have to fly in.
Just sit here and speculate, like hard speculate. All we got was a logo, everybody, but here's what's happening in Splatoon 3.
We have to do it the style Prodigy did with Dude's content video and break it down minute by minute of the trailer. So the 5-minute trailer will become a 45-minute
Here's what the
review.
Splatoon
It's a
3 trailer.
5-second logo on screen. All right, let's
Yeah.
this frame.
If you zoom in here, you can see that they've changed the logo just enough.
Here's why Nintendo's opinion on Splatoon 3 trailer was wrong. There you go.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Here's
the
why
perfect
GSM
title.
Live's opinion on the
Yeah, gosh.
So I believe that's all, right?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you, AON, for having us
Seriously.
in your home.
Thank you,
We
Trevor.
Love it.
We love you.
Thank you,
You
Trevor.
want to come
Thank
say hi to the
you.
people, Trevor?
I thought he wasn't
He's
going to get up. He looked like he was
like
just
he
going
was
to
like
wave.
reclining and
Yeah.
falling asleep.
Everybody,
Everybody.
claps in
I'll turn my
chat
mic
for
on.
Trevor.
For those that don't know, again, that Trevor ran the Gengame stream at SNS, runs all of our streams, for almost
Our
everything.
resident polo shirt wearer.
Yes.
Yes.
He runs the vast majority of our GSM stuff. So thank you so much, Trevor, for everything.
Thank you,
that
Trevor.
do.
Thank you.
They do it for
Yeah.
the community. So.
This was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
He was
So-
a Smash guy that fell in love with Splatoon.
Yep.
T-Mags.
Okay, a fighter game guy.
Full disclosure, not really a Smash player, but I just kind of fell into it because I did video production, and I had friends that played Smash, and it's like, hey, I can like stream your event,
And then it became a
and then
thing.
there we go.
Hey,
And now
there
you're
we go.
trapped forever.
and yeah,
Yep.
trapped forever.
So you can go ahead and start, Trevor. Where can people find you on Twitter?
You can find me at the Mags on Twitter.
He's just the arm, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
literally
just
you're
The
literally
Trevor is
You're
just
literally
an arm. He just
I'm
He's
gonna
works
standing-
try
he's
to-
standing here.
There he goes.
I don't know how
you can
long
borrow
this
my
headset
You
is
can,
gonna.
you can borrow my headset.
Yeah, we're just gonna.
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. Let's do that.
Good plan.
We definitely didn't think this through.
No,
At all.
that's,
all
that's
good.
okay.
But,
But it happens.
Yeah. I don't know. I ran 4 mic leads, didn't run 5. But you can find me on Twitter at the Mags. Follow at Gengame. Really appreciate all the follows and Twitch subs and people that don't run ad block. Really appreciate all those people.
Guilty.
Don't worry.
Smash and Splash was a disaster financially.
Thank you, Trevor.
Really appreciate that. Click those ads.
That being said,
Thank you.
Kendall, where can people find you?
You know, Negus, that guy. Don't follow me. Follow the other people on this table. All right, go ahead. Come
Go
on.
follow him. That _guy_
Yeah,
Negus
come
on
it's
Twitter.
too much. Follow
I'm Melissa
Melissa.
Acid Sunshine with a double E at the end.
Jackson, Dr. Prodigy, both on Twitter and on Twitch, although the Twitch is abbreviated, so it's Dr. Prodigy.
Mine's easier. I'm LIL Sound DJ, Lil Sound DJ on Twitter and Twitch, and I think I changed my YouTube to it too, but I don't really use YouTube that much anymore.
Sweet. So, thanks so much, guys. We really appreciate you joining us today. As always, hang in there, and we'll see you again soon. Register for Summer Splat. Trevor?
And
take us
GSM
home?
Grand Prix. And GSM Grand
Oh,
Prix.
GSM,
GSM
Grand
Grand
Prix.
Prix.
We didn't even talk about GSM Grand Prix.
Do that.
Do that. Register GSM Grand Prix. Totally. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's this weekend, the
and
first qualifier.
Yes, this
Yeah,
Saturday at
Saturday.
noon Eastern. GSM Grand Prix 2.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And we'll see you all soon, right? Yes?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Trevor.
Kendall, it's only like a 9-hour drive back here. From Toronto.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
did it. I did it overnight.
I've done
Actually,
it also.
8.5 hours.
You can hijack
8.5
Spoon on your
hours.
way.
1 tank of gas. You could do
Oh,
it.
Dang, that's
It's easy.
impressive. 9
You
hours
got
on
it.
one tank.
All right.
All right, that's
Thank
it.
you guys so much. Have a great day.